Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I'm here with a new layout. I'm featuring a cut file from an Etsy store called Make Paper Art, and Amanda is the owner there, and she creates the cutest cut files, and she sent me a couple to play with, and so I thought I would make a stash layout featuring one of her cut files. So I want to thank Amanda for sending me this because I had a lot of fun playing with it. This is called the Lots of Dots cut file, and it's basically a lot of circles with shapes inside the circles. And I went ahead and cut this on some white cardstock, and I'm just coating it with clear gesso because I'm going to add some mixed media things to it. And I probably should have waited until it was completely dry, but I started to peel it off. I was getting anxious, and I actually ripped a couple of the circles because the way some of the circles are designed, they're attached with just a tiny piece of paper because there's a thin line or an outline cut around the circle. And so, yeah, it took me a little bit to peel it off my mat here, but that's okay. It wasn't the gesso's fault or the cut file's fault. I just should not have peeled it off until it was completely dry. But anyway, I got it all peeled off, and you can kind of see all these fun circle shapes and how it cuts an outline around them, and so they're kind of very fragile when you touch it. So just be careful when you do that, and don't be impatient and peel it off too fast, but you can easily put the shapes back in there. So I arranged most of the circles at the top with a couple at the bottom, and I'm going to use the Pink Paisley Summer Lights collection, mostly the 6x6 paper pad, and that came out last year, I believe. A beautiful summer collection, and I really didn't use a lot of it, and so I hoarded it, and I loved it. I just never got around to using it. So I'm going to use it today to make a summer layout with a really cute circle background. So all I'm doing here is something that a lot of us scrappers do, and that's just back the open spaces with some of the 6x6 papers. And I just want some really fun summer colors. I'm going to incorporate some purples, some blues, some pinks, yellows, and even a little bit of orange. And this is a very easy technique to do. You just let your Cameo or your Cricut or your whatever electronic die cutter you have cut out the shapes, and then you just stick paper behind it to fill in some color and some patterns. And I love doing this technique because it gives you an opportunity to use lots of color, lots of patterns in small doses, and so the page doesn't feel overwhelmed or too busy. And so that's all I'm doing here. You could use a tape runner to tape the paper down. I like to use my glue, and I always get asked what kind of glue I use, and that is the Scotch Tacky Glue, and I get that from Michael's, and it works wonderfully in that bottle. So I've got all the circles backed, and I attached all the pieces that I ripped up by accident, and I'm going to scrap this really cute summer picture of Reese, and this is from a few years ago. Her teeth were all just growing in, and so they're all kind of crooked and scattered, and she just looks so different now. And I love going back and scrapping older pictures, but she looks really cute. And I'm going to add some things to the background here, and I'm going to work with a lot of the Distress Oxides, and watch how these work on the paper. I love this about the Distress Oxides. I'm using an ink blending tool. It's foam, and I'm dabbing it on the ink pad and then rubbing it onto the paper dry. And then I'm taking my brush and a little bit of water and then just kind of smudging it to make the ink bleed and turn to kind of a watercolor. And this works so well, especially because of the gesso. And this is, I always get asked, why do you use gesso, and what does the gesso do? Well, this is just a regular piece of cardstock here, nothing special. And if you're going to add water or anything liquid to it, it's going to just soak right through the paper. And if you add the gesso first, it's going to toughen up the paper, make it a little bit textured, and it's going to allow, see all the water that's on there? I can twist and turn the paper, and it's going to kind of run and pool up. It's not going to just soak right through. And so that is why the gesso is key if you like to blend and smudge and add water and kind of, you don't want it to just soak right through the minute it hits the paper. And so that is why I use the gesso. So I'm just adding some yellows, some pinks, and some blues. I'm mixing and matching some colors, and then just dabbing my brush right onto the ink pad there and dipping it in some water to use it for splatters. I'm going to do the same thing with that yellow color down at the bottom. And I love how this looks, and I love the messiness of this kind of background. Now here's where I'm going to add some shimmers. This is a purple color. It's called Plum Crazy, and it is an Inklings, and so it's definitely going to have some intense shimmer to it. But it's the perfect purple. I love it. It's one of my favorite purple colors. And since there is a little bit of purple going on in the papers, I wanted to add just a touch of that to the background. And again, the gesso is allowing me to add the water and to smudge it around a little bit without it just soaking right through. You could do the packaging technique with the shimmers and the distress oxides. A lot of different ways to use these products. I love to mix and match things. I like to use some of the shimmers and some of the ink pads. And it's just fun to mix and match. You can get brand new colors and you get different finishes. Like the distress oxides don't have any shimmer in those. Those are just flat color, whereas a lot of the shimmers products do have shimmer in them. Hence the name shimmers. But there are some shimmers products without shimmer, believe it or not. Just depends on what you like. I know some people like the shimmer, some people opt to not have shimmer, and so there's a little bit of everything for everybody. I like both. I never met a color I didn't like, shimmery or not. So, but I'm going to position the photo right where I keep placing it on there, since she's on the left side of the picture and she's looking toward the right. I want her to look like she's looking across the page, and so that's why I'm going to put her on the left side of the layout. And that was some shimmer spray that I'm using there to splatter down. And so I think I've got a lot of the background done. I let that dry, and then I did some stitching along the edge of each, or down the line there of each circle, and I did it with the matching color thread. So I've got pink, orange, yellow, aqua, yellow. Did I already say yellow? All the matching colors. And I did some zigzag stitching and then some really close zigzag stitching just to give it a little extra texture and interest. And I'm adding some tissue paper behind my picture, and then I'm just going to start to go through all of the Summer Lights chipboard and stickers and die cuts. Again, things that I hoarded that I thought were so pretty that I just never used, which is ridiculous because I love to make summer pages, but I just thought this collection was so pretty. It just got put in a bag for safekeeping for whatever reason, and here we are a year later finally using it, so it feels good to use it. I'm definitely going to use that mermaid piece because I love how it looks on the right side of the picture, and I love how it tucks in. I'm going to have her hair on top of the picture and then her knees underneath. I thought about using that rainbow as another circle, but I wind up moving it just because I think I want to use it as an actual rainbow, and it just doesn't work on this layout, so I'm going to save it for later. I am going to use a sticker and a die cut, not a die cut, a chipboard piece down at the bottom that says Soaking Up the Sun, and that little wave sticker, and then I'm going to use that die cut frame, but I'm going to tuck it underneath the picture. And I'm just going to go simple. I'm going to use some die cuts from my title. I'm going to use the piece that says Chillin, and then the other piece that says, I think it says Sun-Kissed Dreams. Something Sun Dreams. I think it's some Sun-Kissed Dreams. But I'm going to cut the frame up so you can see the bottom and the top of it, because I didn't want to waste the top part of it because it's so pretty. And then I'm going to add a little bit of foam underneath the picture. And this is just some adhesive craft foam that I get from Walmart. You get like 40 sheets for $5. But then I realized I needed to cut some of it off because that chipboard mermaid is dimensional, and I wanted the photo to be even. So her knees tucked under there kind of acts as a dimension also. Or it's the same height as the foam. And I know I wind up covering up most of the big circle on the die cut on the background, but that's just the nature of creating a background and creating your page. Ultimately, some things are going to get covered up, and I'm okay with that. I brought in some thread. I'm going to mix and match a darker pink and then more of a soft pink there on the bottom right to bring in more of that color there. And then I'm going to add some purple up at the top left. And I always, you know, I think in the last year I've been more using, or more leaning towards using purple on layouts, and I don't know why I ever shied away from it. It's such a pretty color, and I love how it looks in this collection. And every time I use purple, I always love it. But it's just never the first color I think about, and it's never the go-to color. I always go for pink, aquas, and yellows, or blues. You know, those are just my, I don't know, they just seem to work easier for me. But when I add in some purple shades, I always love it. So I think I need to make purple more common. I do add a little bit of thread down there at the bottom, and that color is the orange color. And I love that little wave sticker. It's perfect. But yeah, you should definitely check out Amanda's store. It's on Etsy again, and it's called Make Paper Art. And she has some really cute cut files in there. And yeah, lots of possibilities. So if you have a Cricut or a Cameo and you're looking for something different, some new cut files, make sure you check it out. So I'm going to thumb through the 6x6 paper pad again and do a little bit of fussy cutting. I want to use this orange heart to bring in some more pops of that deep orange. It's kind of an orangey red color. I'm going to add that to the left, and then this little piece here that's also the same color, it says Chase the Sunset. I'm going to tuck that in right there. And I like the fact that it's a circle, so it sort of mimics the circle element. And the circles really have nothing to do with summer. I just like the way they looked. And again, you know, sometimes the background, well, a lot of the times, for me, the background doesn't have to make sense. I just want to like the way it looks, and you know, the color and the texture and things like that. I fussy cut those cute little hands that are pressed together making a heart. I like the way that looks because they're white on the white background. And then I'm going to cut out this too. This is a little phrase that says every summer has a story. And also fussy cut out the peace sign with the hands over on the right that's yellow. I guess I'm not done with thread. What am I doing? Oh yeah, we're going to add thread. Oh, there's the orange thread. It's purple down at the bottom. That's where I added orange. I was thinking I added orange at the very bottom, but no, I added it right there. We're getting close to being done. Yeah, so my title's just going to be Chillin', because that's what we're doing, or that's what she's doing. We're just hanging out in the pool. I've got so many pool pictures over the years. I don't think I'll ever run out. And yeah. I did cut some little hearts from this beautiful paper from the 6x6. I'm going to glue those in a couple of spots. And I think I'm getting close to wrapping this up. Oh yeah, I'm going to add a little bit of journaling. So I'm going to draw a couple of lines because I can't draw a straight line. And then I'm going to use my gold pen to write it in. And then, yes, of course, I'm going to add some Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine to finish this off. And I think that's going to wrap it up. I did add the date, but there's the final layout. I love how this turned out. I love how using a cut file can inspire and just dictate your entire layout you might otherwise never have thought of. But here's some close-ups. You can see the cut file up close. You can see the stitching, all the details, the background. Love how it turned out. Let me know if you have any questions about any of the techniques or the products or the cut files. Again, Make Paper Art. I'll link the website down below so you can check out her cut files. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time.